Hello, everyone. My name is Monica Gleiberman, and you're listening to Silence on Set podcast. On today's podcast, we have Jonathan Bennett talking about his romantic new comedy, The Holiday Sitter. The film is about Sam, who's a workaholic bachelor who's babysitting his niece and nephew during the holidays. Completely out of his element, he recruits help from a handsome neighbor and soon finds himself in an unexpected romance. So, to talk about why this film is different from all the rest, here's Jonathan Bennett. Okay, I'm so excited to have you on. First of all, I just love you as a human being. Can I just start there? That
Yes,
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 I
man.
love everything about you.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say. I'm just me, trying to figure out life one day at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time. I know. And you do, I feel like you're a trailblazer in your own right for just various things that you've done for the community and for, being like the first couple on a magazine and just like so many things that you have done. So I want to start there, which I know is like not really, it's kind of related to the movie, but just in terms of what you've done for people that might feel alone and might feel like they're not being represented and seen, and you're such a force like to be reckoned with no apologies, and I just love it. So I just want to ask you like what that means to you, that people are looking to these things and are watching you and are going, oh my god, he did it, I can do it. He's on a magazine, I could be on a magazine with my husband, you know what I mean, like all of those type of things.
Yeah, it feels really good and it feels like progress. All the work that me and my husband have done the past year and a half, 2 years. We've got to really go into some typically, I don't want to say conservative spaces, but some spaces where there's not been LGBTQ plus representation and been able to bring it there, right? And I think that's really important to move the needle forward. So, for example, like we were the first gay couple on the cover of the Not magazine. So that's a first for people to go into a grocery store and see two guys on the cover when they're checking out at the grocery store and they see that magazine. We were the first couple to create, not even a couple, but the first people to create a same-sex wedding band and engagement band with K Jewelers. And so now everyone, and not only did we make it for us, but we made it available in all K Jewelers around the country at K.com. You can now go to K.com and order a same-sex wedding band and engagement ring, which didn't happen before. So, we did the Christmas House 1 and the Christmas House 2, which was the first time there was a gay kiss on Hallmark Channel, especially like, Christmas movie. So we've really tried to find, I always tell my husband, I'm like, I can only speak to my experience. And what I know is that there are people that, I say, watch RuPaul's Drag Race and are big fans. And the people that are doing that are so important and so amazing. But what about the spaces for the people that maybe are not on our side yet, or don't really understand, don't have friends who are gay, and aren't in our LGBTQ plus world? How do we get to those people? Because those people, connecting with them is how you change hearts and minds.
Right. So like not the targeted material like people, right? Because not the people like me that's like friendly and like love all of it. The people that are not in that targeted market.
And maybe, and not that they're against, maybe they just don't know, right? Maybe they're not, because they're not exposed to it. And so when you're not exposed to it in your daily life, it's hard to have connections with it. So we try to do that. We try to go into spaces where these stories aren't being told and tell those stories.
Yeah. And I just want to like say one thing with the K Jewelers thing. I know you kind of glossed over it, but that's a big freaking deal. I mean, like K Jewelers has been around forever. They are known for anyone to go if you want a ring. I mean, like so many people want to go there. So that's a huge thing for them to not only be welcoming and to say, yes, we're going to offer this. It's on the website. You guys can buy it, but for you guys to spearhead that is no small feat. So I just
here's the ring. Hold on. I've been eating a lot of salt. I gotta loosen it. There you go. Yeah, here's the ring. It's a same-sex wedding band. Oh, look at my nail. I bit my nail. That's gross. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny.
There we go. So there's the ring. There's diamonds on one side for the engagement and the wedding band on the other. So when you get engaged, you wear it with the diamonds facing out. This is hard to do backwards. And then at the wedding, we flip the band so that way the wedding band faces out. And then the diamonds face us now because life's more beautiful now that we're together forever when we look down. And so for us, it was really important because, you know, James created this ring for me for our engagement. And the reason he had to create it is because he was having a trouble going into spaces where, you know, jewelry stores and different jewelry spaces to try and find a same-sex wedding band for a couple. And they just didn't simply exist. And so once we made it for us, or he made it for us and surprised me with it, then we thought, let's think bigger picture here. And we worked with Kay, and Kay is so supportive. And they're such trailblazers in this space. And they were like, we're going to make it available online so that way anyone anywhere can go and get this ring, and it'll be more affordable too because we can mass produce them. So it literally changed the game of LGBTQ plus weddings. And to have us on Instagram, we get to go and see other couples using our ring to get engaged. Are you kidding? It is, I mean, James came running in, just tears in his eyes. He was bawling, and he's like, look, and there was a person from the military, I forget what branch, proposing to his husband in front of the Washington Monument using our ring. And I was like, this is why we do it. And so many messages. We've had hundreds of people buy the ring, and they message us and they say, thank you for creating this, because we didn't know where to go. But then when we saw you did this with K Jewelers, we knew, oh, this is a place I can go, and I'm going to walk in and have an experience that's going to make me feel like I'm part of the party. Because it's not enough to have a ring that's available custom, right? Because when it's a custom ring, you're adding an otherness to it, meaning there's an otherness to that ring. So what I love about Kay is they said, no, we're making this for everyone, and it's available anyone who wants it as part of our line. And that's how you make progress.
I love it. And just so you know, I have a friend, has the rings, got engaged, married, wearing the rings. So like, that's why I was like, I have to bring it. I have to mention.
Stop!
Yeah. So it has the rings. I've seen it in person. It is beautiful. For anyone listening, you have to buy it. I know for people watching, they'll see it, but yeah, it got engaged. I'm like so excited to talk to you about it.
Come here, babe. Hold on. We have to bring in the husband and the dog. Come in here, James.
Bring everybody in.
Bring them on in.
Total informal fun one.
Monica will tell you, come here. It is on camera.
Oh, great.
Look, there he is in the robe.
Well, listen, this is going to pull people in. This is like the thumbnail that I'm using.
What are we doing?
Okay, so I have to tell you really quickly. So we were just talking and we started off, and I wanted to say how trailblazers you guys are and how amazing the work that you have done. And we got into K Jewelers, and to me, it means a lot to me in particular because one of my best friends of all time got married with your rings. So I have seen them. Yeah, they got engaged, and they are currently wearing your rings right now. So I've seen it.
Oh my gosh. Will you tell them hello and please have them send us a photo?
God, that's so cool. I love that.
I will have them take a photo and tag you guys. But like, I was like, I have to tell you because it means a lot to me because they are my best friend. They're my life. So for them to be happy and to have something, they struggled so hard finding something. And all of a sudden, bam, there's the two of you, and it's on Kay's website, and I'm like, go there. They fell in love with it, and that's the rings.
Monica, that was the point. That's literally the point of it. So thank you for sharing that story. I really appreciate it. That's very nice of you.
Okay, now go play with the dog because we have to talk about the movie. Bye.
Bye. It was so nice meeting you.
Me too.
Oh, he's so cute.
Brother, go with Daddy.
Definitely have to use that little screenshot. That will pull the two hotties together. That'll pull you guys in. But so I want to go over that really quickly. But yeah, so congratulations, because like I said, that's no small feat, and it means a lot to a lot of people, and it meant a lot in particular to me for my friends, so that are like family to me. So thank you for that. But to kind of lead into all the stuff that you've done with like you said, the first time a same-sex couple has kissed on the Hallmark channel and all of these things and rings, that leads obviously nicely into the holiday sitter, because this movie is very different in the fact that I love that it's not like, oh my God, this guy's gay and he's alone, and oh my God, and there's all these like stereotypes, and it's so focused on it, and it's not.
Did you get to see it at all?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm like in it. I'm in it. Yeah. Right. So like, I love that it wasn't so focused on it, because when you watch like a straight couple, it's not focused on that. We're just watching this couple fall in love and like, right? And all like
Ding,
the
ding,
fun
ding, ding,
things.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. So I loved that this movie is very different in the fact that it does not focus on it at all. One of my favorite parts, which I won't give away too much of the movie because I want people to see it, but one of my favorite parts is when your character realizes that the other character, like someone that he's interested in, you're like, ooh, wait, he might like be like,
Is
he
he
might
on the
not be
team?
straight.
It's
Yeah,
like, is he on my team? Yeah.
yeah. Which
It
was one
goes
of my
from like,
favorite
oh,
moments.
it goes from, oh, there's a hottie in my living room to, oh my gosh, I might actually have a chance. Oh my gosh.
But I love that moment because that's such a human moment. Because all of us do that, right? If I find a guy that I like and I'm sitting down and I'm like, oh my gosh, you panic, you get the heart, like, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you if that was like a conscious effort for you guys when you were working on it to make sure that it wasn't a stereotypical story, that it was about love and it was
Yeah.
about a guy falling for another guy. And then like, yeah, it's peppered in there. So like, but like, that's not the focus. The focus is
Right.
these two
Well,
guys that are very different.
no, I think we set out to just tell a good love story. And I
Mhm.
think we started there. For me, it was really important when making this movie that we made a movie not just for the LGBTQ plus community, but for everybody, because Hallmark Channel is for everybody. Christmas is for everybody. And so we really started off wanting to make characters and a love story that was really identifiable. What in each of these characters can everyone relate to when they're watching it? And so we started there with that idea. In this movie, we don't even say the word gay one time. And that's because the movie is about so many things. It's about love. It's about Sam coming home trying to like learn how to be an uncle and put on Christmas for his niece and nephew. It's about family. It's about love. It's about humor. It's about all these other things. And yes, there are two men that happen to maybe start falling for each other.
Right.
And so we didn't want to make that the focus. That's just is. And I
Right.
think that's what really takes this movie and sets it above all the other LGBTQ plus Christmas movies is the way we handle the storyline. And I have to say, Hallmark Channel did such a fantastic job making sure that we were really true to the story and really took very careful gloves when writing this and filming this to take care of these characters in the story to make sure that it's authentic and it's real.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like that's so important because and I always compare this, and I hate to compare it, but I feel like we have to in this society when we watch a Christmas movie and it's a quote straight Christmas movie, they don't go, oh, I'm straight. Is he straight? Okay, great. Like, let's get together. It's not mentioned.
It just is.
So the fact that like your movie is not mentioned to
Yeah.
me is normal, right? Like,
Yeah.
why would you like it's so abnormal to like it's so weird
Yes.
to like come out because nobody talks like that. So for your film, it makes total sense. And then not only on top of that, what you're saying, all the additional characters, which are so fun and so funny, and you're hilarious, but like all the family members and all the people that get involved that kind of make these circumstances happen where like, these two guys kind of come across each other, all of them are relatable for people that might not relate to maybe the specific love story necessarily, or they
Yeah.
might be a family member of someone, like, you know what I mean, in the community. So there's so many different aspects to kind of pull you in to watch it. And I think, let's say you watch it and you're like, I don't know, anybody, I'm not educated, I don't know a thing, and you see this really cute trailer, you get pulled in, and by the time you're like reaching your character, you're laughing so hard and you're so in love with it that it doesn't even matter. Like, and I think that's the
The
goal.
point.
Yeah.
That literally is the point. I said, okay, we're going to make a movie. It's going to be hilarious. And it's going to have two men as the leads. And when I went to Hallmark and I said, we're going to make it so funny that people won't be able to turn it off. And by not turning it off because they'll want to see what happens next, they're going to get invested with Sam and Jason, and they're going to start falling in love with their story of them together. And so that way, maybe there are people, maybe there's a dad watching this that has a gay son or a gay nephew or someone in his life that's gay, and maybe he's not the most supportive father, right? Or whoever. Maybe they're going to watch this movie, and maybe because it's so fun and has such a energy to it, and there's so many hilarious physical comedy moments that happen, it keeps him watching. And maybe, just maybe, if we're lucky, when the movie's over, maybe that heart and mind has been changed just a little bit. right? Maybe it's moved the needle forward just a little, and that's all we can do, right? We're not going to change lives completely, but we're going to change hearts and minds, hopefully by airing this movie and by this being out in the world. And we're also going to make the little 16-year-old Jonathan, who is me in Ohio, sitting at home with his parents, who see a couple that looks like the love that's his on camera, and watch it in a Hallmark movie of all places, the pinnacle of Christmas, right? The Hallmark Channel, that's where we go. And he's going to see a love that looks like his in that movie. And that is going to mean so much that most people can't even understand.
Yeah, and not only that, I feel like it's going to mean so much in terms of the support, because now, like, necessarily, if you don't have it in your family, that doesn't mean you can't have it in your friends. You can't have it in your neighbor.
In your life, in your orbit.
Exactly. And because there's so many people in this cast that, add on and that are supportive and that are loving, I feel like when anyone that watches it, if they feel like they're alone and they go, well, listen, that's great. Like, he's, of course they get together and this is great. And it's but that showing that support lets people know, like, it doesn't necessarily have to just be family. You can create your own family, and there are a million people that are there for you.
Chosen family is what it's all about. And that's what we wanted to make sure we handled in the holiday sitter, is making sure that we talked about chosen family. And I think as the stories unfold and people watch this, they're really going to fall in love with the idea of what a chosen family could be.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful. It's so good. It's so good.
Did you laugh?
What?
Did you laugh?
Oh my God, I was hysterical. First of all, you're hysterical. And there's one scene with facial hair. I'll just say that, and people will know what I'm talking about when they watch it. I was crying. I was laughing so hard. And I was like, he must have just died, like, with that scene. So I mean, it's just so funny. It's so cute. Like, I mean, you guys are gorgeous. So, I mean, that didn't hurt watching, the two of you together. But I mean, there's just so much in it. But yeah, I was hysterically laughing. I actually had to, like, rewind a couple times. I was like, wait, what'd they say? Because I was like, shoot, because I was laughing so hard. So, I mean, it's so good. It's everything that you could possibly want. I mean, what more could you want in this movie?
And I don't know, tell me if maybe you've seen them. I don't know that I've seen a Hallmark Christmas rom-com this broad. This kind of like big comedy with like big jokes and big physical comedy moments. I haven't seen one this broad, so I'm hoping the audience responds and loves it.
Yeah, and I haven't seen one that also took such attention to detail, because usually, like, there's Christmas movies and there's a lot of carbon copies, right, that come out during Christmas. But this one in particular, the houses, the decorations, the amount of effort that went into making all of this look so real and all this be a real tangible thing for people to watch. And there's one section where you see everybody, and again, I won't give that away, but that whole thing just solidified, and that's how I felt when it was done. Like, it just solidified everything that this movie stands for and what it shows, is when you see everybody. And I think everybody will connect to that and in that moment. So yeah, like, I was like laughing. I was almost crying at the end. Like, so I mean, like, it's just so good. So I just want to say congratulations to you, because
thank you.
I don't know how you could have made it any better. I don't think it's even possible. And I'm so excited for people to see it.
I am too, and it takes a village to make these movies, right? So what was so special about this is, from the moment I walked into Hallmark Channel and said, I want to do Uncle Buck, but he's gay. And that was the premise of how I started this idea. I was like, it's gay Uncle Buck. And they said, we love it. What a great idea. Let's run with it. And from that moment, it's changed into different iterations of that story. It's not exactly that same story, but it's kind of like the nugget of the idea.
Yeah.
And from that moment, they have been so supportive. Hallmark Channel has gone above and beyond to make sure we tell the story correctly, and that we handle it with such care to make sure that we are staying true and authentic to what two gay men living in 2022 would be experiencing in these situations. And what really helped was Hallmark Channel did such a great job with all of the creative team. Our whole creative team is queer, from our director to our producers, to our writers, to our actors. It's an entire queer team. And I think because you had so many different experiences to pull from in the creative process, we were able to really make a movie that was heartfelt, but also had a lot of humor to it, because we can all, when we've all gone through trauma, we can use that trauma to use humor to help us feel better about it, right? That's something we use. We use humor as a device to get through trauma. And so I think there's a lot of humor in this that comes from the trauma of growing up being LGBTQ. So I think there's like things in that we take away that I think a lot of that might be subtle, but I think a lot of the people of the community are going to identify with.
Yeah. And so, of course, I was so excited and I love this movie so much that I jump right into it. But I want to ask you, how do you kind of describe your character and what can you tell us about the film? Because I'll end up giving everything away because I loved it so much. So, what can you kind of tease about it for people that are like excited?
Yeah.
Buzz everywhere already. I mean, it's everywhere. That
sure. I hope so. I would say so. The Holiday Sitter is about my character, Sam, who is the eternal bachelor living in New York City. He is basically going to be single for the rest of his life, and he's okay with that. Mm-hmm. And he comes home for the holidays because his sister and his brother-in-law have to go out of town because they're adopting a new baby. So they have to leave short notice, like 5 days before Christmas, to go and get their newborn baby. And they have no one to watch their kids, Miles and Danya. So they call Sam because he's the only person that they know is available during the holidays because he has nothing to do. So they talk him into coming home, and he has to put on Christmas for his niece and nephew. So it's a hilarious fish out of water story about an uncle or a gunkle trying to put on, who knows nothing about children at all, putting on Christmas for a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so cute too, because he's not the first call. He's like the last call.
Right. I'm the last on the chain. They go to everyone, and they're like, we can use anybody else. And they even, I think, talk about how can the kids watch each other, because that would be better than Sam coming home. And so when I come home, I end up meeting the neighbor who is the contractor building the addition for the new baby on the house.
Right.
And so I meet the contractor, who I think is just a handsome guy, and then come to find out after Act 2 that he is part of my team. And so then it now goes from, oh, the hot hunky carpenter that's just fun to look at, to, oh my gosh, he might actually be interested in me, or he could possibly date me. So it kind of changes Sam's dynamic and turns him into this like buffoon, bumbling just idiot. And it's hilarious to watch. And I have to say about George Krissa, our Jason, finding a Jason was what kept me up for weeks, because this character has to be hunky. He's got to be charming. He's got to be at least as tall as me or taller. He's got to be good with comedy. He's got to have so many qualities. And we needed to find a Canadian because we were shooting in Canada. And so there's all these qualities, and he has to live in Canada. And so I, for so long, thought, we're not going to find this. Like, we're never going to find the guy. And then George Krissa sent his audition tape in, and he turned around in the scene for his like first moment. He's like facing this way, and he just turns around and smiles. And I was like, open your mouth to be good. And he starts talking, and I'm like, he's even a good actor. Oh my gosh, he's good with comedy. And it kept going and going. And I immediately called the producers. I was like, we found him. And it was such a delight, because we had such good chemistry together. We have such good comedic chemistry together. And I think what the chemistry that you're seeing when you watch it on screen that's so special about this movie is we know we're doing something special. And that's not lost on us as actors in these moments. So when we are doing, some of these intimate scenes, or some of these big, the first meet cute, right? The first meet cute, we knew right before we went to film it, we looked at each other and we're like, all right, let's make history right now. We're going to do the first meet cute for two guys in a Hallmark Christmas movie rom-com. Are you ready? And we're like, let's go. And so this thing happens where I fall, and he, might catch me. And when that happens, it's like when they yelled cut, we just gave each other the biggest hug, and we were like, we did it. Like, there it is. And so I think what you see when you watch our characters together is our chemistry comes from a place of excitement, getting to do each of these scenes together.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And then like what's also really cool is that the characters themselves could not be more different. So,
Right.
and that's like another like great element of a rom-com, right? Like how these two characters somehow can find some sort of middle ground. And then again, I always bring it back to a human level, which is like all of us can find some sort of human, way of relating to one another, even if you could not be more different. So even if
Right.
like every element in your brain is different than the other person, you can
Mhm.
still come together in some sort of way. And these two
Yep.
characters prove that like on screen, which is so great to see. So I wanted to ask you, you were so involved with the process. So
Yeah.
what was that like for you? Because that is like daunting. I mean, I know you've written a book. I know you did a lot of stuff with like Mean Girl. So, but let's just like add in all your accomplishments. But you've done so many things. So I'm like, well, maybe it was easy, but I'm not sure. But I feel like a book and on air
No,
might be different.
look, this was it. This was definitely challenging at times, but also so exciting that it didn't matter because it made it all worth it. So, like I said, from the moment I brought the idea to Hallmark, they were so over the moon excited and wanted to do this. And so the support I had from the network was out of this world. So like that really helped the creative process of how to tell the story. So they handled every scene very carefully and made sure. And what's so great about Hallmark Channel and the way we creatively did this together, if there were things that were unclear of what to do in the situation, they did the best thing ever. They asked, they said, how would this situation go? What do we do in this situation? And what was so great is that because you were able to ask and really listen, there was a great moment when, someone from the network called, and this is a silly little note, but they said, "Hey, should you shave and George have facial hair?" And they were like, "Normally we do like one person shaved and one person not shaved, but what do we do in this situation?" And I simply said, "I've been married to my husband. We've been together 5 years, and we've both always had a beard in 2022 because that's just what a lot of gay guys our age do in 2022." And they were like, "Great, that sounds perfect. Okay, keep both of you keep your beards then. Great." And it was just like the simplest thing, but it was like, how does this work? And if there were questions that needed to be asked, they would just ask them and they really listen. And then it was just such a collaboration. But I think the hardest part of all of it was making sure we did it correctly and being on set every day. And even though it was a really fun set, the producers, the director, and I on set all day when we were shooting scenes, especially something that had to do with being queer at all in the movie,
Right.
it was always eyes on each other. Are we all looking? And we'd all be like nodding. We're like, no, we're good. We're good. And the minute something didn't feel right, you would look at one another and they'd go, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't feel good. Right. And we're like, okay, what do we do? And we would change it. And Hallmark Channel just did such a great job taking care of that. And so it wasn't a hard process in that sense. It was more, you felt the weight of the community on our shoulders. And that's where it really the stress came from. And like the heaviness of like, okay, we're doing it. And we have to do it right. And I have seen a lot of LGBTQ movies this past year. I have to say, I could not be more proud of our story for The Holiday Sitter and the way we handled everything about it, because I think this movie is done perfectly.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it's so nice to hear about Hallmark because for people that aren't in the industry or are listening, and I mean, they've heard a million of my interviews in the past, but that's not normal. So, like, for people that are listening, that's like extremely not normal. A lot of times, studios will send you notes and it's like that way or the highway kind of thing, or they don't even come to the actors. It's like people above or right or whatever have to make decisions and it just gets trickled down, and the actors kind of don't really have that much say and they just kind of have to do things.
Yeah.
So, for them to be that open and
promoting. Well, it was also fun too, because there were moments when I was like, well, I think we should do this. How do I tell everyone, like, whether it be an art department thing or just something, I was like, I think we need to do this. It's going to be important. And I was like, who do I ask? And eventually one day the director turned to me. She's like, Jonathan, you're an executive producer. You can just tell them. And I was like, oh, great. Yeah. Hey, let's move this tree over here because I don't want that in the shot. And they're like, great. I'm like, this is fun.
I know. And that's what's so amazing because you were so involved in it. And I think because you're such a trailblazer, and again, this is my comments to you, but again, I love you because you're such a trailblazer, because of all the stuff that you've done. I think it would not have been the same movie if you were not as involved, if you were not an EP, if you were not in the film. And I think that is a testament to you as an actor, as a testament to Hallmark for finding you and working with you. And I just think that this movie could not be better for those looking for a nice Christmas movie to just feel good, feel happy, feel seen, feel heard, and see other people, in the film, to know that there's more than just you.
Yeah.
More than just you at home.
Yeah, right. When we see representation, it matters, right? And that's what I love so much about Hallmark Channel. And if you look at their programming and what they're doing, it is the old, what I said earlier, Christmas is for everybody. And the holiday table that everyone's eating at, all of a sudden there are chairs that are being reserved and pulled up for everyone to sit at, to make sure that everyone feels like, hey, we have a place at this table. If you picture the network as a giant holiday feast of movies, you're going to look around the table and there's a chair for everybody. No matter who you are, Hallmark Channel's for you. The holiday sitter is for you. This is all made for everyone, so everyone can watch it and feel like they have a place to belong at Christmas.
So I want to ask you, I already know, but when does it come out for people to see?
December 11th at 8 p.m. on Hallmark Channel, which is a great date because it's 1211, and I like those 121122. That's a good number.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And then I want to ask you really quickly. So
Sure.
yes, I'm again obsessed with the movie. Everyone needs to watch it. I've already watched it twice. So everyone needs to go watch it because it's so funny and it has every element that you could possibly want in a holiday movie, and just feel good. Like put on some candles, firework, like just like relax and just watch it, and you're just gonna laugh and have tissues, because I was laughing so hard that I was crying, so I had tissues. Then I was crying, so I had tissue. I mean, it was so good. So everybody needs to go see this movie. But I want to just like kind of finish with two things. One, you have a million other projects you're doing. So is there anything that you want to kind of like tease or talk about for fans? Because you got a lot of fans that are excited to see you.
Oh, that's very sweet. I can't really talk about everything yet, but we have 4 scripts in development right now at the network that are going to basically change what you think maybe a Hallmark movie is. And so I think but while still keeping true to the different tropes that we love about Hallmark movies. So it's still going to have all the heart. It's going to be based in love, but we're going to take it and kind of shake things up a bit. And I think people are going to really love it.
I'm so excited. And then my final question for you is, like I said, you got fans, and I've been a fan for a very long time because I love you. Like I said, I love you as a human being, but I love you as an actor and everything else that you've done. So you have so many fans. So for people that don't get to talk to you like I do, because I was so excited today, what would you say to them? Because they've followed you from literally project to project. I mean, everything that you've done, they've supported you. There's people, like you said, buying the ring. There's people that are, watching every film. There's people that go back and watch Mean Girls just for you. Like, I mean, there's just so many things. So what would you say to them that are just so excited for this and then for your upcoming films?
I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of our fans at places like Christmas Con in New Jersey, where people come up to us and tell us why they watch our movies and what our movies mean to them at the holidays, whether they're going through something or their family isn't really together. The actors at Hallmark Channel and the movies that we make become a lot of people's Christmas chosen family. And to see the look on their faces of what these movies mean to them and to hear their stories is it's unlike anything you could ever hear. It gives us such warmth and makes us feel so good to do the job that we do with a network like Hallmark Channel, where inclusivity and everyone feels seen at the table. So to the fans that come up and thank us and for watching all of our stuff, I want to say thank you to them, because we only do this for you. The only reason we do any of these movies is for you. If we have no one to watch them and support them, they ain't getting made. So by you watching and engaging with our films, it helps us to be able to do what we love, which is create art and create stories for TV and movies. And to the fans that have been following me from like Mean Girls on, like I was scared when I was in, after Mean Girls came out, because I was in the closet. Like but my friends and family knew, but not many other people. And so I had to live for a long time hiding who I was publicly to everyone. And I was so nervous to come out, but I knew I had to do it. And so I posted a picture of me and my husband, I think 4 or 5 years ago, and just said, hey, this is who I love. And that was one of the scariest moments of my life, because I didn't know if the fans would not only accept me, but embrace me.
Right.
And I couldn't have been more loved or embraced by doing that. It changed my whole life. It changed how I carried myself on camera. It made me feel so supported, because there was such an outpour of support from every Mean Girls fan to every, one of the other movies, any other movies I've done. Those fans all just came out of the woodwork and were like, oh my gosh, we're so happy. This is so good for you. We're so happy you can live your truth and share your story. And so that was the moment I felt the most relaxed in my life, and also supported, because the thing I was worried about my whole life of like coming out, or what if people find out, was over. And it was just such an outpour of support from the fans that I'll never be able to explain how much I appreciate the fans for supporting me and for watching, going on the Mean Girls journey to the Hallmark journey and everything in between. Like, the fans have been beyond supportive, and I will never be able to tell them how much I appreciate that.
Well, I wish I could go back in time and have met you and tell you at that point, like when you were doing Mean Girls, to come out, because we all love you. And
it was a different time in Hollywood, right? It was just a different time.
It was a different time, but I wish we could go back and tell him, because.
But I don't regret a single moment of that, though, because if I hadn't had to go through those 10 years, I wouldn't have been as fired up to make the changes that we're making now.
Right.
So it's like I needed that pent up anger and pent up animosity to then go and be like, okay, we're trailblazing. Let's go. Let's friggin' go.
Yeah. No, and I totally understand, and I feel like everything happens for a reason, but I just wish that I could go back and just be like, yes, you're not alone, and it won't matter, and don't worry, and because you just want to tell somebody like, we love you regardless, like we don't care. But I'm happy that it made you so much stronger, and like such a huge, like I said, huge force for this community. So like I said, I'm just gonna end with, I just love you so much. The fans are so excited. I can't wait for them to see A Hollywood Sitter. I think they're gonna love it. And the upcoming projects that you have that I kind of read a little bit about, I think people are gonna be ecstatic. So I'm so excited for you. And I just want to thank you so much for spending time to talk with me today, because we're just huge fans of you here.
Thank you so much.
Hope you guys enjoyed listening to Jonathan Bennett talk about his new romantic film, The Holiday Sitter. It premieres Sunday, December 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Hallmark Channel. I highly recommend checking it out. It is so cute and so funny. It will definitely get you in the holiday spirit. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're updated on all of our latest podcasts, and head over to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe so you're updated on all of our video content.